Bitter criticism. We are recording this show from a prison in Hainan. A prison in Hainan. Can you see the bars and the tropical vegetation? Just 1 minute. So here we are waiting for our sentence. Here we are waiting for our sentence in Hainan. No, I'm only joking. We lost our studio. We lost our improvised studio. It's only joking. Balu! Balu! Balu is there free. I hope he doesn't make any trouble. But question is, Balu only wants to play with another dogs. And well, I'm going to read 1 or 2 news from Cgtn now. I was reading this news from Hainan. Xi Jinping calls on Hainan to write new chapter in advancing Chinese modernization. Yeah, nice place. Well done, Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping is a lot of white hair on his head. December 17, 2024. Xi Jinping calls on Hainan to write new chapter in advancing Chinese modernization. Chinese President Xi Jinping has urged China's southernmost province of Hainan to strive toward writing a new chapter in advancing Chinese modernization. Oh, I lost Balu. Balu is lost. She also General Secretary of the Communist. Oh, here they come. Here he come. She also General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, CPC, Central Committee, and Chairman of the Central Military Commission, made the remarks after listening to war reports from the CPC Hainan Provincial Committee and the provincial government on Thursday afternoon. She commended Hainan's achievements in various areas of its work and put forward clear requirements for provinces' work in the future. He urged the province to focus on the strategic positioning defined by the country for Hainan's construction as a pilot zone for comprehensively deepening reform and opening up a pilot zone for national ecological civilization, a center for international tourism consumption, and a service zone for implementing major national strategies. Sounds great. Sounds like Taiwan. No. Sounds like the Chinese Taiwan. I'm sorry. This is only a provocation. The question is, Hainan is great. It's like no, it's the Hawaii, Chinese Hawaii, Hawaiian Chinese. But you know what I like the most about Hainan? The tropical fruits. Absolutely, but forest, just like here, maybe. Forest, tropical forest, indigenous people, understand? That's what I get my attention to. So here we go. This ethnic tourism is ecological tourism in Hainan, because it's a huge island, you know. It's not just surfing. It's not just surfing in Hawaii. Stressing that reforms in key areas should be pushed forward in a solid manner. She said Hainan should benchmark against international high-level economic and trade rules vigorously promote systematic opening up and create a first-class business environment that is market-oriented, rule of law-oriented, and internationalized. She called for making the Hainan Free Trade Port an important gateway, driving China's opening up in the new era. He said the Hainan Free Trade Port should strengthen exchanges, cooperation, and functional docking with free trade parks in countries and regions that have jointly built the Belt and Road Initiative. She emphasized the need to comprehensively improve the level of livelihood protection and social governance, and ensure that public services are inclusive, meet essential needs, and ensure basic living standards for people in difficulty. Yeah, that's interesting that they say, because I was watching an Al Jazeera documentary. Al Jazeera people say that fishermen in Hainan, they are being forgotten. They are kind of being marginalized on his own way of life as a fisherman, losing space, losing their way of life. Who knows? But I trust Xi Jinping, Xi Jinping is my president. He's the only president I trust too. I live here in Chile with Gabriel Boric. I don't trust him, And Brazil is a chaos, a politically chaos. I just trust Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. That's it. He said efforts should be made to maintain overall stability in employment and prevent a mass return to poverty. Noting that New Year's Day and Spring Festival are approaching, she said governments at all levels should ensure that necessities such as rice bags and vegetable baskets are in ample supply and ensure production. Yeah, sounds better than Chile, definitely, because here we have nothing. I only have student food stamps, and we don't have that from January to March. 3 months of starvation in Chile. Anyway, companies in Hainan are already benefiting from a zero tariff policy on imported production equipment, vehicles, and raw materials. Hainan is also accelerating efforts to become a world-class travel destination. In 2023, tourism revenue in Hainan grew by over 70%. So sounds great. Hainan sounds just great. Balu! Balu. Aquí estamos en Hainan, China. So that was a quick recording, a quick registering. Foreign Minister Wang Yi vows to make China a force for inclusion and peace. I love this guy. I'm sorry, I'm not no homo, but I love Wang Yi. She looks like a baby. Wang Yi baby, Wang baby G. What about that? Politics, December 17, 2024. Foreign Minister Wang Yi vows to make China a force for inclusion, peace. Updated December 17, 2024, medium-sized news. Member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China Central Committee and Foreign Minister Wang Yi speaks at the Foreign Policy Symposium and something. Foreign Minister Wang Yi on Tuesday pledged to position China as a force for peace, unity, openness, justice, and inclusion in a speech delivered at a foreign policy symposium in Beijing. Building a community with a shared future for mankind has been established as the noble goal of China's major country diplomacy with Chinese characteristics. Wang, also a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China Central Committee, said that the Symposium on the International Situation and China's Foreign Relations 2024, China actively strives for the restoration of world peace and works to save human lives, Wang said. Human lives. Regarding the Ukraine crisis, he emphasized that China has consistently upheld an objective and impartial stance, actively advocating for peace and negotiations. Noting that the Gaza conflict has claimed too many civilian lives, Wang stated that the urgent priority is a comprehensive ceasefire and cessation of hostilities. The key focus, he added, is to ensure humanitarian aid, and the fundamental solution lies in the realization of two-state solution. China will firmly remain a force for peace, the foreign minister said. He called on the incoming U.S. administration to make the right decisions, work with China in the same direction, eliminate interference, overcome obstacles, and strive for stable, healthy, and sustainable development in China-US relations. China will deepen comprehensive strategic cooperation and all-around practical collaboration with Russia and promote China-EU relations to steadily move forward along a path of independence, mutual achievement, and global benefit, he added. There's another photograph. Member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China Central Committee and Foreign Minister Wang Yi speaks at the Foreign Policy Symposium in Beijing. Five highlights of China's diplomacy in 2024. Wang shared 5 highlights of China's diplomacy over the past year when addressing the symposium, emphasizing that China's diplomacy in 2024 had created a favorable external environment for China's high-quality development and injected valuable stability into a volatile world. First, he noted China's head of state diplomacy had written a magnificent new chapter and led the trend of peace, development, and win-win cooperation. Second, new breakthroughs have been made in building a community with a shared future for humanity and promoting global solidarity. Third, Chinese modernization has provided new opportunities for the world and promoted the development of modernization in other countries. Fourth, China has set a new example in cooperation with other developing countries and built on the trend of unity in the global south. Fifth, new progress has been made in deepening the comprehensive diplomatic agenda and strengthening the trend of building a new type of international relations. That was with input from Xinhua News. Just a second. There's a very short news. China. News about China. Cgtn. China extends visa-free transit stays to 240 hours. This time enough to find your flight, isn't it? We have a photograph, view of Beijing Daxing International Airport, Beijing, October 20. China on Thursday announced a relaxation of its visa-free transit policy, extending the permitted stay for eligible foreign travelers from the original 72 and 144 hours to 240 hours or 10 days. What 10? Yeah, there's a lot of days. 10 days to find your flight, to find your aircraft. Good luck, you're stupid. Nah, but it's time enough to take a lot of photographs, eat a lot of noodles, which is tasty. Anyway, 21 more ports of entry will also be added to the list of entry and exit points for travelers with transit visa exemptions, the National Immigration Administration said. Under the new policy, from 54 countries, including Russia, Brazil, the UK, the US, and Canada, who were transiting through China on their way to a third country or region, may enter China visa-free through any of the 60 open ports in 24 provinces, autonomous regions, or municipalities. They may stay within designated areas for up to 240 hours compared to the previous 72 to 144-hour transit visa-free policies. The most notable change is that they can now travel across provinces, autonomous regions, and municipalities within the permitted areas. From January to November, the total number of foreign arrivals at ports nationwide reached 29.2 million, a year-on-year increase of 86.2%. Of these, 17.4 million entries were under the visa exemption policy, marking a year-on-year increase of 123.3%. That was the third news, and there's another: new Syrian leaders on diplomatic offensive. That's interesting too. Everything is interesting now, today. Today everything is interesting because why? But this is a huge news. It's interesting because China needs to say something to the global south, to the world. Europe, December 17th, new Syrian leaders on charm offensive as caretaker prime minister admits financial worries. Cgtn'S head Ahmed al-Shara, formerly known as Abu Mohammed al-Jolani, picture on the left, with Stefan Hickey at the center, director of the Middle East something. And there's my dog. My dog. Quoted my dog. My dog is fine. It's not mine, but there's the boy. He's kind of lonely today too. New Syrian leaders on charm offensive as caretaker prime minister admits financial worries. A huge news of 4 minutes. The international community is ramping up engagement with Syria's new governing authorities, as its caretaker prime minister Mohammed al-Bashir admitted his country has very low foreign currency reserves. German and French officials will meet representatives of Syria's new rulers in Damascus on Tuesday, expanding international contacts with the new administration after British diplomats met its leader Ahmed al-Shara late on Monday. Scott Ritter was in Dialogue Wars today. I couldn't download his. Maybe YouTube. YouTube is canceling us, canceling the left. I don't exist. I don't exist by this time. Maybe I will never exist. Actually, I'm a ghost. I'm ghosting the YouTube. The question is, I cannot download Scott Ritter. Dialogue works. Imperialism doesn't want to dialogue. 9 days after Bashar al-Assad was ousted, countries are gradually opening channels to the new authorities in Damascus, led by the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham HTS group, although they continue to designate it as a terrorist group. There's a photograph from Syria. A drone view showed Damascus city at night in Damascus on December 16. A chaos now. There's a lot of lights, but from cars. This is a manipulated photograph. There's more light than the normal. Late on Monday, Shara, formerly known by his nom de guerre Abu Mohammed al-Golani, met a British Foreign Ministry delegation He stressed the need for the restoration of ties and lifting sanctions on Syria so that Syrian refugees can return home. The Syrian state news agency SANA reported. SANA. Shara, whose group was part of Al-Qaeda until he broke ties in 2016, was pictured sitting in a suit with an open shirt during the meeting. I guess Al-Qaeda was not so bad as Al-Qaeda was running in Pakistan too, isn't it? Or Afghanistan, yeah. So maybe Al-Qaeda is not that bad. I mean, who is in charge on Afghanistan now? I don't remember now, but I'm not sure about nothing about the Middle East. I never went outside South America. Anyway, I guess they are not so important neither. The images underline the geopolitical shift since Assad was toppled by HTS-led forces. Shara spoke about the need to build a state of law and institutions and establishing security, unquote, end quote, Sana reported. He also spoke about Britain's important role internationally. Ahead of the meeting, UK Foreign Minister David Lammy said Britain had sent a delegation of senior UK officials, quote, to Damascus this week for meetings with the new interim Syrian authorities and members of civil society groups in Syria, end quote. A spokesperson for the German Foreign Ministry said Tuesday talks should focus on a transitional process for Syria and the protection of minorities. French diplomats are also expected to visit Damascus later on Tuesday to meet HTS representatives. And there's a photograph. Syria's interim Prime Minister Mohammad al-Bashir on the left, meeting with UN Emergency Relief Coordinator Tom Fletcher in Damascus. The U.S. State Department said on Monday that the U.S. government has had more than one communication with Hayat Tahrir al-Sham over the past week. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump said on Monday that Turkey will, quote, told the key, unquote, to what happens in Syria, where rebels backed by Ankara toppled the government of Bashar al-Assad earlier this month. Making his first comments on how he views the NATO allies' role in post-conflict Syria, Trump praised that he described it as Turkey's major military force that he said, quote, has not been worn out with war, end quote. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said on Monday that European Union should be ready to ease sanctions on Syria if the country's new leadership takes positive steps to establish an inclusive government and respect women's and minority rights. Wokeism. UN sanctions. Aid Chief Tom Fletcher met Shara and Bashir on Monday to discuss scaling up humanitarian assistance in the country. I guess Bashar al-Assad was better for the global south, for Syrian people. You will see. Scott Ritter was saying that Syria maybe is another autodestructive conflict, another trap like Ukraine for the West. There's a subtitle, Genuine and Practical Dialogue. Following Fletcher's meeting, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said in a statement that he welcomed the caretaker government's commitment to protect civilians, including humanitarian workers. Quote, I also welcome the agreement to grant full humanitarian access through all borders crossings, cut through bureaucracy over permits and visas for humanitarian workers, ensure the community of essential government services, including health and education, and engage in genuine and practical dialogue with the wider humanitarian community, end quote, Guterres said. In its most recent comments on the situation, Beijing's foreign minister said, quote, China is closely following the situation in Syria and hopes that stability will return as soon as possible. The Chinese government has been actively helping Chinese nationals who who wish to leave the country to do so in a safe and orderly way, and staying in contact with those Chinese still in Syria and offering them advice on how to stay safe, unquote, end quote. Caretaker Premier Bashir told Al Jazeera TV on Tuesday that Syria had very low foreign currency reserves. Current and former Syrian officials have told Reuters that the dollar reserves have been nearly depleted because the Assad's government increasingly used them to fund food, fuel, and its war effort. The central bank's foreign exchange reserves amount to just around $200 million in cash, one of the sources told Reuters, while another said the US dollar reserves were, quote, in hundreds of millions, source Reuters. Well, and that's all. The next news, the other news is about Chinese special program, where I'm not going to read because it's too specific. Look, Shenzhou 19 crew set for first extravehicular activities. Interesting. I'm just going to, it's just 1 minute. I'm going to read this on the bus. On the bus, I guess. No, I'm going to read it. I'm going to walk reading. Space, December 17th. Shenzhou 19 crew set for first extravehicular activities. A short news. The Shenzhou 19 crew working at the China space station. The Shenzhou 19 crew members who are currently on board the China space station will conduct their first round of extravehicular activities, EVAs, within the new few days. The China Manned Space Agency, CMSA, announced on Monday. Over the past 48 days, the Chinese astronauts or taikonauts have accomplished a rotation with the Shenzhou 18 crew, attend to the maintenance and upkeep of the space station platform, ensure the upkeep of the life and health support system, conducted inspections and tests of EVA suits, and prepare for the spacewalk. Spacewalk, not a Earth walk. Send Balu to the space. No. The CMSA noted that the crew has participated in system-wide pressure emergency drills, medical rescue exercises, and other in-orbit training programs, while also carrying out an array of space science experiments. The agency confirmed that the Shenzhou 19 crew is in good health and the space station is operating smoothly, providing optimal conditions for conducting EVAs, source Xinhua News Agency. I wonder if they are having sex on the space in a collective suit. Can you imagine a collective suit on the space? They are everybody inside only one suit having sex in the space.